Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, a change of heart, the Philippines suspends the termination process of the Visiting Forces Agreement with the United States. After President Rodrigo Duterte certifies the bill as urgent, the controversial anti-terrorism bill hurdles the House of Representatives on second reading. But critics question the need for the new law and its timing. Also, as the country eases quarantine controls under GCQ, what measures are in place to prevent another surge of COVID-19 infections? Defense Secretary and COVID-19 Task Force Head Delfin Lorenzana joins us live. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin says the government has suspended the termination of the Visiting Forces Agreement with the United States. In a tweet, Locsin said the suspension will go on for 6 months and could be extendable for another 6 months. The Philippines formally ended the 1998 deal with America back in February. Meanwhile, Congress is likely to pass a controversial bill giving more teeth to the government's fight against terrorism. The Senate approved this in February, while at the lower house, the bill hurdled it on second reading. The hashtag Junk Terror Bill has been trending online amid fears of critics being silenced and the possibility of being tagged as terrorists under the proposed law. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana. Secretary Lorenzana, sir, thank you for your time. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Pinky.
Secretary Delfin, can we try that again, sir? Good morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning, Pinky. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, maraming salamat. Unang-una, DFA Secretary Locsin already sent a diplomatic note to the U.S. ambassador sent to Washington saying that the termination of the VFA has been suspended upon orders of President Rodrigo Duterte. Sir, what was the reason for the change of heart by the president?
I think the reason that I was told is because of this current pandemic. Plus, we need cooperation from other countries. We need to cooperate with other countries to fight the pandemic. And I think the president thought that it's untimely to end the VFA at this moment, at this time. That's why he suspended in fact, the letter that she sent last February is suspended, so it's not yet. It will not take effect as it should in August of this year. So that's it. So we will continue our usual activities with the United States, our armed forces, and the U.S. armed forces, especially the Balikatan and all other exercises that we do year-round.
And I can imagine, sir, that the Department of National Defense supports this move of the president.
Yeah, we do. We do support the president. Did you get that? Thank you. We do support the decision of the president.
Yeah, sir. Actually, I think you released a statement very recently on this, saying that you do support the decision to suspend the abrogation of the Visiting Forces Agreement. I wanted to ask you, though, Secretary Delfin, did the president consult you about this? Did you know about this, sir?
Very briefly, we talked about it with Senator Bongo in one of our conferences 1 month ago. And we discussed about it, and I said, I think he said it's not timely to end the BFA because of what's happening worldwide. So that's it. That's the only reason he said. He told us. He told me because there were just very few people in that meeting.
And you must have been quite satisfied or happy with this, Secretary, because you already, in the past, you weren't very happy with the termination of the VFA.
But in a way, yes, because of our long-standing relationship with the United States, and it's to end the decades-long relationship with the U.S. military. It will be very abrupt, and we learn a lot from them, and they learn a lot from us. They are our allies through the MDT, and I believe that we should continue engaging with them in exercises so that we can develop interoperability, develop common doctrines, uh, not only fighting armed group, but especially now fighting the pandemic and other threats to our nation, like calamities. They come here also to help us. They also help us in our terrorism fight against the Abu Sayyaf in the south. So there are lots of benefits that we get from this visiting forces agreement.
I wanted to just find out, though, Secretary, from you, because this diplomatic note has been sent from the DFA to the ambassador of the U.S. to Washington, sir. Does this need any form of acceptance by the United States, sir?
You mean did they accept the note verbal sent by Secretary Locsin?
Suspension. Not the
Yeah,
accepting
I
the
believe
letter,
so.
sir, but because we. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, because I believe they did because Ambassador Song Kim texted me yesterday that the president suspended the termination, meaning that the letter that was sent in February, which takes
Mhm.
effect from August, that is suspended. So
Right.
I do not know what happens after 6 months because according to the note verbal, it's about 6 months. After 6 months, it could be extended. So I don't know.
Subject to
I think I
renew.
wasn't
Yeah.
privy to the craft of the note verbal.
Okay, so now that that's happened, Secretary, I guess what's good to find out is what's to gain from this suspension, just, sir, in the first 6 months, two areas in terms of the pandemic, and number two, militarization, continued militarization, sir, in the South China Sea.
Say again, you came choppy in the first part.
Secretary Delfin, I was asking you, because this has been suspended, the termination of the VFA, what's to expect in the next 6 months in 2 points, sir, on 2 points. One, on the pandemic, and the second one is the militarization of the South China Sea. Ano ho kaya ang pwede nating asahan in the next 6 months?
Well, in the next 6 months, this is only my guess. The assistance of the U.S. will increase to fight the pandemic. They already gave us some help, assistance recently, especially in the providing equipment in our quarantine facilities. Now, for the South China Sea, I think even without even with the without the suspension of the abrogation of the BFA, the U.S. continue to patrol the South China Sea, and because according to them, that is international waters, and they can go there anytime they want. Uh, but our strategy in South China Sea actually is independent of what the U.S. is doing. We're dealing with the Chinese uh, in our own way to manage the situation in the South China Sea.
All right, Secretary, let me move on to this. There was a story, of course, that the U.S. government recently offered to sell its attack helicopters to the Philippines, but you were quoted as saying that these were quite expensive. So, is there a renewed effort, or possibly on the part of the U.S. government or the U.S. supplier even, that you may reconsider this decision of yours, sir?
I don't know if we can afford that now, Pinky, because of this pandemic, and we have channeling a lot of funds to fight against the COVID. But as I've been telling the media recently, the $1.5 billion six pieces of Apache attack helicopter and the $0.5 billion cost of the six Viper helicopter is too expensive for us. The money that was given to us for the purchase of attack helicopter is only 13 billion pesos. And if we buy the Apache, we can only buy one. If we buy the Viper, we can only buy two. And it's very expensive actually to buy those in terms of maintaining and in stocking spare parts. So we will not buy those at those cost unless we get more money. So we are looking for other platforms that we could buy with the money we have. If we could buy six attack helicopter from other sources with the money we have, then I think that would be more attractive than buying the American attack helicopters.
And which source are you looking at, Secretary Delfin?
We are looking at the Turkish attack helicopter, and I think helicopters with our money. So it is under negotiation, and we have not yet signed any contract with them because we're looking at their equipment further to ensure that what they have is what we need.
But in terms of numbers, how much can you possibly purchase with the budget that you have?
With 13 billion pesos, the Turkish can give us six pieces of attack helicopter. I think that is better because when you buy a new equipment, you also put up the maintenance facilities. You train people to maintain. You stock up on spare parts, and that will be more economical than buying one or two of the Apache.
Mm-hmm. On another note, sir, I want to talk about briefly before we go on a break on Pag-asa Island. Sir, the beaching ramp there has actually been completed. A Philippine Navy ship was able to dock there recently. Two questions on this, sir. What does this mean for what does this mean for the people our kababayans living over there in Pag-asa Island? And second, sir, in terms of how can we actually defend our islands in those contested waters, sir?
Yeah, the completion of the beaching ramp means a big thing to us and to the people in Pag-asa. It means that we can now bring in more supplies, especially in the repair of the runway, because the next project will be the repair of the runway, alert runway. We can now bring in materials. We can bring in heavy equipment. We can also bring in construction materials to improve the living quarters of our people there, and also help the people there because there are about 200 civilian residents in Pag-asa who are all fishermen. I think we could improve their lives better because we can bring in especially generators because they don't have any electricity. We can bring in heavier equipment because of the beaching ramp. Those are the benefits there. Now, in defending our islands there, we will not militarize our island there. We will not bring in military equipment to defend it because I don't think there is any threat of attack of Pag-asa and 8 other islands. We have 9 islands there in the Spratlys and all occupied by our troops.
All right. We'll be taking a very short break. The hashtag junk terror bill has been trending, a trending topic online. Critics are expressing fear on the anti-terrorism bill. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana will still be with us. After the break, please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana. Sir, we're going to talk about the anti-terrorism bill. So much concern, and some groups are criticizing this. First, let's go by definition of terms, Secretary. What really is the definition of terrorism?
There is a definition put up by the UN, and there is also the definition that put up by us. I think that terrorism is something is an act that will disrupt the lives of people, terrorize people. That's it. I think the simple definition is any act that will terrorize or harm people. That is terrorism.
And Secretary Delfin, I guess it's good to look into these 5 categories of terrorist acts. What are they? The first is, this is what I wanted to discuss with you. Attacks that cause death or serious bodily injury to any person or endangers a person's life. Hence, that would be the first category as a terrorist act. Can you explain, Secretary Delfin, why an act that can cause death or serious bodily injury to any person or endanger a person's life can be an act of terrorism?
Yeah, you look at what the terrorists were doing in the history of the Philippines. You have bombing in Metro Manila. The Metro Manila experienced bombing sometime in the early 2000, and lately the bombing of the church in Hulo and other atrocities in this south and also in the Philippines. So those are the kinds of acts that is covered by this anti-terrorism law.
But don't you think that's a little broad, Secretary? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's an attack that can cause death or serious bodily injury. So it can be, what do you mean by attack?
Attack, it could be by weapons or by bombs.
So by a
Something that
gun
could
or by a
cause
bomb?
bodily injury or death. I think that's what it means.
Absolutely, sir. But do you not think this is a little too broad? Because if it's obviously an attack that you use a gun or a bomb, if somebody attacks another person using a gun, that becomes an act of terrorism?
I think there is also a difference between things compared to the terrorism, because terrorism is organized. They are organized. They intend to inflict bodily injury to most number of people they can inflict into, and it is just to create terror or fear in the minds of the people. That is a terrorism. Now, for attacking somebody with weapon like knives or isolated
Right.
ones like a gun, I think that is not terrorism. That is just plain assault or homicide or murder.
Murder if it causes death. Yeah, okay. Number 2, sir. Attacks that cause, you talked about this a while ago, extensive damage or destruction to a government or public facility, critical infrastructure, public place, or private property likely to endanger human life or result in major economic loss. So it's any extensive damage or destruction to any facility,
Yeah.
whether it be government facility, sir, or a private property.
Yeah, that's self-explanatory. Actually, I think it's very clear what it means. Anything that inflicts damage to any public property or private property. That's I think we don't need to define that anymore because it's self-explanatory.
Okay, let's go to number 3, sir. Manufacture, possession, acquisition, transport, supply, or use of weapons, explosives, or biological or chemical weapons, as well as research into and development of biological and chemical weapons. I guess, sir, this is also self-explanatory.
Yes, yes, self-explanatory. Because if you manufacture weapons and you're not authorized to do it, I think, and then that those weapons could be used or to terrorize people, then that is covered by this law.
Okay. Number 4 and number 5, I'm just going to run through this, sir. Release of dangerous substances or causing fire, floods, or explosions, the effect of which is to endanger human life. I just need an example for this, sir, that release of dangerous substance. I guess maybe like way back, sir, in Japan when sarin gas was
Yes, 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 yes.
released in a train, sir, something like that, causing
Mhm.
fires and floods or explosions. So
Yes.
the number 5, sir, I guess, sir, sorry, this is the fifth one, the threat to commit any of the above mentioned acts. So this means, sir, kung kasali kayo sa pagpaplano or nandun po yung threat to commit any of those 4, that becomes already a terrorist act. Correct, sir?
Correct, correct. Anybody who supports terrorism, providing materials, they are as complicit as the people conducting the terror act.
Yeah. Who are the ones, okay, they're as complicit as those doing the act itself. Okay, sir, just very quickly, detention is going to be for 14 days, sir, without charges, and this is extendable to another 10 days. I know that some authorities already saying nagiging problema ho kasi napakaliit na time to detain a suspect. So 14 days, isn't that too long, sir?
I don't think so because the previous one, which is 36 hours, I think it's a joke actually to detain people for 36 hours. You do not have enough time to substantiate your charges. You cannot research. You cannot make investigations. So 36 hours is too short. Even 72 hours or 3 days is too short. So we wanted to make it longer detention period so that we can hold a
Yeah.
suspect. If he is really a terrorist, then we can hold him longer. He cannot commit a terror act while we are
All right, our
developing.
signal is choppy.
If it is
Secretary.
proven that he is innocent, then he can he can be.
Okay, we're gonna, Secretary, pasensya na po, you're coming in choppy. We'll just take a very short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Source. Our guest today is Secretary Delfin Lorenzana. Sir, sorry about that. Our communication wasn't too good. So you're on the phone right now.
My
I need to run.
internet
Sec-
also. Yes, yes.
Sir, baka pwede mo na
Continue.
sabihin yung ilang miyembro sa gabinete tingil dyan. All right, critics of government, bibilisan ko na lang po. Are critics of government, will they be considered as terrorists, sir? Pag sumali ho ba sa protesta, will this be an act of terrorism?
No, no. They are not terrorists. Anybody who makes up peaceful protest, they are not terrorists. They are not terrorists. It is enshrined in our constitution that you can do peaceful protest.
Freedom of assembly.
Peaceful
Right.
assembly. Yeah.
Freedom of expression.
Those are actually protected by the Bill of Rights. So hindi sila terorista.
What if it turns violent, sir?
Depende kung violence na yan is spontaneous about things against the police. I don't think these are terrorism. It's only when it is done very deliberately to manufacture weapons or bombs and to threaten people. It's different from demonstrators, actually. It's different from demonstrators.
Secretary, another concern that keeps coming out is that this almost gives authorities a blanket authority to tag people as terrorists. Can you answer that,
No.
sir?
No, it's not. We will be deliberate. It's part of the law that there is enough safeguard to the liberties of our people that they should not be unduly subjected to this kind of threats that they are alleging. Now, and also the law enforcement agencies, there is enough or stringent sanctions to anybody who will commit abuses in implementing this law. So the people should not worry about this. Yes, go ahead.
Secretary, yung isa na lang po, no? Wala na po tayo oras, but I need to ask this. Ang tinatanong po ng iba, why the timing? Why now? Isn't government supposed to be concerned about fighting this pandemic and jump-starting the economy, and yet all of a sudden the President certifies this bill as urgent?
This bill has been being cooked in both houses of the Congress for the past year. I just we need it now because the threat that the terrorists will also take advantage of the pandemic is very great. So I think this is just, to me, it's high time that this bill is approved and passed into law.
So much still to discuss, sir, but unfortunately we've run out of time. But Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Maraming salamat din, Pinky. Maybe I'll come to your studio para mas marami tayong pag-usapan. Yeah.
Sir, part 2. Thank you, Secretary Lorenzana. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.